Hey everyone, this is Fi. I'm checking out Molten Steel. This is a game I've not seen before. Apparently, it's some kind of a mech combat simulation game. But we're going to give this a playtest and see if we can give some useful feedback. I've looked over the game page here. It mentions the controls. We're going to try mouse and keyboard. It says we have to destroy all the enemies in the valley area, work with the allied squad to ensure success. When you finish the simulation, quit or restart using the pause menu. I mentioned some advanced tips. It says use camera controls to manually adjust weapon aim while locked on. The boost button will activate your air skates directly into a dash. To change direction sharply, activate air brakes, then dash in the opposite direction. Or it just brakes, not air brakes. Hold down the boost button to use overdrive or higher top speed. Movement will be locked to the forward direction, but camera rotation is still possible. So hopefully we can figure out all this stuff while we're in the game here. I forgot to show the overlay if you want to look at that, I guess. There's that. But let's go ahead and jump into this. Let's check out the options menu. We got, looks like we're in video options, resolution, anti-aliasing, post-process. All right, nice to have these. That's good for performance settings. Audio is at 7.5 thousand for each one. I have no idea if that's going to be loud or anything yet. I haven't gotten into the game, so we can't do input options yet. I guess we just click on continue. Let me just check. All right. Oh, one thing I did want to mention, I do notice it's in borderless windowed mode. This sort of fake full screen, whatever you want to call it. And I always like to play games in exclusive full screen whenever possible because you get much more frame stability. The game is just more responsive in general. So I definitely would recommend putting that, if nothing else, just an option in here. Also, the ability to turn VSync on and off is usually important. So those are the two things that tend to make a big difference in the performance of the game and such. But we're going to go ahead and try this out. All right, so we've got some HUD going on here. It's a little confusing the way it's laid out. For one thing, generally not a good idea to put things you interact with like right smushed up against the edges of the screen like this. Usually want to have a little bit of a I don't know what you want to call this, padding or something between the things you click on and such. With some exceptions, but just kind of the way it strikes me looking at this. But I don't know what these are. Maybe these are categories, and then so just have to click on them and see what happens. Okay, these appear to be weapons. Primary weapon, secondary weapon, presumably. We got two hands to work with. This appears to be a two-handed weapon. I don't know how this works. This stuff in here works as far as distributing between left and right. Oh. Right. Okay, so I guess I could just click on any one of these depending on whether it's left or right, and then I guess what I see here is what's equipped. So I don't know what these are just by looking at them. Okay, I guess that's a railgun in my right hand. So, yeah, that's one thing I'd point out is that I can't, obviously since I haven't played this before, I can't tell what these are by looking at them. So even just knowing what they're called would be nice to have somewhere show listed what's actually equipped already. That would make it a little less confusing also because, as you can probably tell, like I couldn't tell right away if this was. I kind of got the impression that this was showing me what was already equipped, and not just a list of things I could equip. Okay, but we're figuring it out. What is CS, Polaris, or Gridgen? Is it just color scheme? I think it's just color scheme. Primary, secondary, and then VS is the vertical suit or something. Kind of, well, looks like a walking grenade. And this guy looks like an umpire. That's kind of funny. Pretty cute. But yeah, we got primary. I don't know if it matters if we choose left or right. Oh. Oh, if we do one empty, then they do both hands on one. I don't know if there's a benefit to doing a weapon two-handed versus just doing like two of the same weapon. Like, I have no idea. I could only guess. You start with only one equipped, so that kind of seems almost like a hint or something. But, you know, how could I know? And these other ones are the same as the ones that I could select for secondary weapons. But the coil gun I couldn't. Wait, ground pistol, spray gun, and ray gun. Rail gun? Oh, hand rail gun. So I think these three were the ones that I could equip, and then there's crown railgun, which looks the same. I guess it uses the same model. He holds a different, I don't know what the difference is. Crown versus hand. I don't know, but these two I can only select for the primary, so I don't know what that indicates. But, I mean, if I was making a game like this, I think, you know, to me it would make sense if you got some kind of a benefit from two-handing like a primary weapon or whatever. And if you were going to do like a double primary like this, then, you know, that could have some kind of a detriment to it. I mean, it could have benefits also, but, you know, something to balance it out. And then, you know, in my mind, maybe if you were going to put like a secondary weapon in one hand and the primary in the other, then maybe that would, like, it makes sense in my mind. If you're going to have a weapon in one hand, then it's not going to get like a debuff or something if it's already meant to be like a secondary weapon. Whereas if you're going to put one of these in one hand, I think that these would get debuffed. So, you know, maybe there could be these decisions to make about whether you want to just go full two-handed, or if you want to do one-handed with like an off weapon because it works better in one hand, but then this is, you know, maybe it's really inaccurate or something, but it's still really strong. Or you just want to go like full on like sicko mode with the double primaries. I don't know. That's just the way my brain works thinking about it. But I guess for now I'm just gonna leave this kind of, I don't remember what was default. It's like this one or something. And let's go ahead and actually try the game. All right, we're in the game. Seems like there's a lot of smoothing on the mouse look here. Again, I don't know the controls, and it was a while back now that I looked at them. So I guess spacebar is the boost. Everyone's out there fighting what look like yellow guys. I think some of them are dead already or something. Oh, there's more guys coming. All right, so I need to figure out the controls. All right, shift seems to toggle between skating, I think, and I think the other one it said was brake. Oh, okay, so it's just a toggle between like brake and skate or something like that. We have clicking isn't doing anything. All right, right mouse button shoots a little volley. Interesting how the camera isn't like over the shoulder at all. It's directly behind you, so it's a little awkward. And also the way he holds the weapon is directly facing forward. It's not really the way you would expect like a you know, some kind of a humanoid to hold a weapon. You know, usually you'd have it kind of shouldered or something, and this can kind of block your view also, like while you're trying to aim at things. But I guess at the same time, it could, in certain cases, make aiming simpler. But I think I would prefer probably the a little bit more of an over the shoulder. I forgot what Q is for. Okay, I can draw a different weapon. That's my secondary. But I can only draw one of them. I have to hold it and then click. Wait, alright, now I have to... But I can't get the other one out on my right hip. I don't seem to be able to. I don't know what the deal is with that. But I can pull out the secondary, this secondary on the left, and then I can go right back to the primary without putting it back. So I can like dual wield these, but my other secondary okay, my other secondary is still on my hip, so I don't know what the deal is with that exactly. The HUD elements here are pretty interesting. I like the radial effects. I wonder what... I guess that's a reload of some sort. I wonder what happens if you run out completely. Alright, you just have to wait a little bit longer. So that's very cool. And the same for this one. I think it might be nice if there was like different colors to the circles. Just to give it a little more contrast. Okay. So, is this shooting? Oh, I have the right mouse button. I forgot which mouse button. So this aiming, it looks like it's slightly off. I guess it's supposed to be like you're using the sights, which is cool. But yeah, it's like I can't really see. It's more the model blocking what I'm pointing at than anything, I think. So maybe not quite lined. Oh, excuse me. Maybe not quite lined up completely accurately. But interesting that you can aim like this. I wonder if you get some kind of a benefit. I would guess, you know, maybe even if there isn't anything implemented right now for a benefit. It makes sense to me that if you're going to go into this mode and, you know, be super slow and use this kind of aim down sight, that you get some kind of a benefit to like stability or accuracy or something to that effect. Now I think when you're in the first person mode, it seems like the camera is, it's not smooth like before. Like this, I think there's a little bit of smoothing in the camera, but in this mode it's not, but there is... Oh, what's happening with my aiming? It just stopped trying. I guess I just put both my weapons down. But yeah, there's the fact that there's the lag on your actual weapon. It's a little distracting the way it... I mean, I can understand, you know, being a mech game, that there's a little bit of rotation time and stuff, that sort of thing is fine in my mind, but just like when you're swinging the mouse around like this, it can be a little distracting when it just kind of doesn't quite follow where you're pointing the screen, but maybe that's just something to get used to more than anything. I guess it's my guy, and then I think all the other guys here have died already. Oh, there's more coming. Okay. Supposedly if you hold... Oh, the sound effects. Space long enough, you get... Or, wait. I guess if you hold space at all, it locks you into... Alright, yeah, it locks you into... Oh, so you can turn, it's just really gradual while you're in this boosting mode, but you can kind of strafe around a bit, it seems. Oh yeah, you can hold left and right too, and that seems to work. Alright, super hard to aim like this. The other thing that's frustrating is that the reticle just disappears in the horizon here because it's so bright. But it's cool that we can see the HUD in the upper left there. That also kind of disappears in the horizon, but you can see how it kind of shows us the what appears to be simulated body part damage here. I'm taking a lot of hits. Okay. I don't remember switching into that mode, but alright, so I think I'm just pretty dead, which is fine. I wasn't trying, but what is the button to... Oh. I guess the buttons don't respond anymore. What was the... I thought it was escape or J or something. Break. What was that? I think something else just broke. Okay. Okay, so I guess it's sort of something still being simulated here because this shows up if I hold Q, and that's interesting. I like the idea of like potentially losing your legs but still being able to shoot at guys and that sort of thing. But I can't seem to get... Oh, it's P, the P key. Okay, I don't like that. I would definitely suggest moving this to the escape key. Continue options, restart. Go ahead and restart. But let's see. Yeah, it seems like when you're actually sliding around and stuff, it's really hard to aim. Oh gosh. I keep forgetting, like, I want to use the left mouse button to shoot, but I have to use the right mouse button with this for whatever reason. Oh yeah, it's like, I think that guy's already dead. Alright, so there's not much indicating like the status of the enemies here. Like if you look closely, you can see that these guys are pretty broken down, but you really have to like stop and look at them to see if they're moving or whatever. So it might be nice if there's some kind of more of a clear indication whether they're about to die or you know, their health, or if they're alive at all. Those guys can dash around a lot too. Now can I just... I don't really know the timing on the boosting. It doesn't seem like you can spam it, but it's like not as fast as you want. But maybe if there was a sound effect, I would get more of a audio feedback to know when it's kicking in exactly. It seems like just a short delay between when you can use it again. It doesn't seem like you have to really brake to change direction quickly. You can just kind of dash in the opposite direction. It seems to work okay. You don't really need to hit the shift key, I don't think. I mean, it might optimize, but yeah, I guess it does, but it's kind of hard to do. It doesn't really feel like a very intuitive thing to do, in my opinion, but it does work. So yeah, it just seems like aiming is real hard. You got a lot of factors here. I mean, obviously the fact that you're moving around so fast, the fact that the enemy's moving around so fast, the fact that the bullets have travel time, they're not hit scan, which means you have to lead them. It's not like a continuous burst of bullets, it's just a short burst. There's a significant amount of time between the bursts. So you can't just like hold it and spray and aim continually. And all of that combined with the fact that there's the lag on the aiming, it's pretty significant. All those things together makes it pretty tough. And it's not first person in the sense that you know, most first person shooting games have the reticle locked in the center, whereas this game does not. Even in the first person mode, it's not locked in the center, so it depends on like the terrain and stuff, I think. Yeah, it seems to, I don't know, just maybe it's your own movement or something that affects it quite a bit. Yeah, you can see the reticle moving around. So it's not as simple as just pointing the center of the screen at what you want to kill and clicking the button. Clearly, it's a lot more complicated, so it does seem pretty hard at first blush to even do any damage. I think we just have to go ahead and restart this to properly try again here. I think we'll just continue trying with the primary weapon. I don't really know of a reason to use this guy, except if I like ran out of ammo or something. I don't know if my shots inherit inertia when I'm moving. Wouldn't be surprised if they did, because this sort of feels a little bit like Tribes, the way you slide around. But you know, that would just be another factor that just complicates things a bit. And all right. Oh gosh. So yeah, it does feel pretty cool. But it's hard to predict where your reticle's going to end up, kind of for the reasons I've described. It just moves around kind of so unpredictably while you're moving around. Like, whoa, it just went. I guess because I put the weapon down. You put the weapon down after a while for some reason, and you have to click it again to bring it up. But yeah, I mean, it's a little annoying that it's kind of unpredictable the way it is. And so I think it could benefit from some predictability worked into it. The other thing is, a big issue with this kind of game is the concept of damage avoidance, like how you want to work that out, because as it is, it's like, it seems like they're as likely to shoot you as you are to shoot them. Now, I don't know, why am I aiming up there? I don't know what the triangle... Does it drop all the way to where the triangle is? I don't think it can drop quite that far. I don't really know what the triangle is indicating. But yeah, so damage avoidance is something that's important to pretty much every action game, where not so much in a simulation, but generally there's sort of this ideal that if the game is not flawed, then it should in theory be possible to play it without taking damage, you know, if you're skilled enough. Just, you know, even on a theoretical level, like a tool assisted maybe, at least. Just having the possibility of being able to avoid damage, that means that you can, you know, that means it's a skill-based game. You're not just kind of playing a numbers game where you have 10 HP and the opponent has 5 HP, so you win, which would be more of like an RPG, like a turn-based sort of thing. That would be fine. But in an action game, that's an important concept. So something you have to be wary of for this kind of game, because if there aren't clear ways to avoid damage while also successfully killing the enemies, then it might not be as fun as it could be. So I don't know, you know, for all I know, there could be that developers already considered a lot of that stuff, but as of right now, it feels like, you know, that's probably something that it doesn't seem intuitive that there are clear ways to do that. Obviously, you can kind of go back and forth with the dashing, and I guess if you kind of spam the shift key and the space bar to change direction quickly, then you can try to avoid some fire, but it not sure if it's very reliable. I think we're just going to try this one more time. I know it's like a... Alright, we'll hold you down. Alright, so there is bullet travel, but also like the enemies have, you know, the same... Why is it shooting all the way up there? The enemies have the same bullet travel you do, so like what you get in a lot of games, you know, that aren't simulation games, usually not first-person games, it's usually for like 2D games and stuff, but you might get like you might have the player weapons like shoot really fast bullets because it's just really responsive and it feels good, and lots of good things happen when your bullets go where you aim. They don't go too slow. But then like giving enemies those kind of bullets, it's hard to avoid them because the same reason you're like giving them the same power that the player has, and so a lot of 2D games and stuff, you might benefit from having slower enemy bullets and faster player bullets. Whereas, with this being a simulation, you might not expect that, but it just kind of demonstrates the concept of something you have to deal with the concept of damage avoidance, that if the enemies are shooting really fast bullets at you, if they have good aim and everything, then it's going to be very hard for you to avoid taking damage. So stuff you have to consider, maybe you want to make them less accurate. Conditionally, you don't really want it to be an RNG thing, but maybe if you're moving a certain way, then they don't have time for their accuracy to catch up. There's all sorts of stuff to consider, but as it is, it's pretty cool feeling. I not entirely sold on like the idea of like slapping the shift and then the space bar in quick succession. That doesn't quite feel good to me, but there's like a concept here that I think having interesting movement on a mech game, I think, is kind of a must. So I think you're going in the right direction with that. And yeah, lots of other cool elements. I like the way that this works. I don't really understand how it works with the two arms and stuff. It seems kind of awkward and counterintuitive, and I don't even know if it's working correctly where I can't seem to access my other weapon. But having this kind of cool weapon switching is cool in my book. And other stuff, the status of the different limbs and everything, that's cool. Lots of cool stuff here. So we didn't try all the different weapons and stuff, but I'm not going to take that much time on it. I think I already probably took too much time for what I've accomplished in this video. So I'm going to wrap it up, but hopefully this video is useful, and let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next one.